We're kind of matchy-matchy today.
Except for I look like a pilgrim.
You're cute. You're my little pilgrim.
Okay, so today we're going to, we're trying to do different episodes. So we post a graphic called Spill It.
Mm-hmm.
And what we really want is for you guys to ask us like kind of funny, fun questions, because that's just our personalities and we want to share all of that with you. But everyone's asking about histamine because that's what most people who follow me time are struggling with. So we're going to do a histamine part 2 because we covered histamine in our last episode, and now we're going to answer some actual questions that you guys posted on histamine intolerance, and I'm fine with that. So, but we just want to let you guys know that this podcast is not just about histamine intolerance, it's about all types of issues. So we want to know more what you want to hear about other than histamine too. Okay.
Right.
So from Instagram, the first question I think is pretty relevant is loving_him7. Well, I wonder who he is, but he's lucky. She named after him. Okay, so she asked, how can you determine if you have histamine intolerance versus mast cell activation syndrome? So that is a great question.
It is. And we get it a lot in practice.
A lot. And here's the thing. I believe, and I know many practitioners believe, mast cell activation syndrome is the root cause of most histamine intolerance. So mast cells are these white blood cells that release histamine. So when we have a pathogen, right, a foreign invader come in the body like a virus or whatever, our body releases histamine from our mast cells, and it causes an inflammatory response, which allows our immune system to go in and do its job of getting to that pathogen. The thing with mast cell activation syndrome is that will happen when there is no pathogen.
Right.
You may be too cold and your mast cells are going to dump, it's called degranulation. They're going to dump a bunch of histamine. You may be too hot and that's going to happen. You may be stressed, which is a huge thing, and that's going to happen.
Big driver.
So yeah, so it's more of a abnormal release of histamine, if you will, rather than just your body's immune system responding to a pathogen. So mast cell activation syndrome is when you're dumping histamine for various reasons. There's about 50 triggers, if not more, to mast cell activation syndrome. But many people have it. And the only reason that people are just finding out that they have it is because no one really knew about it before. So it just started being talked about. So, it's kind of that person who goes to their doctor and they have a laundry list of symptoms and none of them make sense. And nothing is working. That's usually mast cell activation syndrome. So that is the difference. And you can have histamine intolerance without having mast cell activation syndrome.
Right.
I see that tends to happen with people who have gut issues, maybe in their 30s, they just got like a parasite, or they got H. pylori or candida or whatever, bacterial dysbiosis. And that is reducing the enzyme that breaks down histamine. Plus that bacteria is actually creating more histamine that your body is having trouble breaking down. Or they're having a hormonal imbalance. Like estrogen is a really big driver of histamine. So the more estrogen we have, the more histamine we release.
Okay, estrogen, right?
Good old estrogen.
Good old estrogen. And with mast cells, not just histamine, right? There's other chemicals involved too, right?
Oh yeah, it's inflammatory chemicals. And this is kind of going to lead me into the next question, and it's very important. So let me find what this was. Okay, so Carly Marin.
Oh yeah.
Marin Art, Marineart. So she asked, how can people with histamine intolerance support their bodies when they get COVID? So
Mhm.
what we're finding is, and I am working on a full-blown guide for this for you guys. Yeah, me
Mom.com.
too. The 17 things I'm working on right now. But so what happens is, mast cells release a lot of inflammatory chemicals. So
Mhm.
when you have COVID, you get into what's called a cytokine storm. So that is creating this inflammatory process. It's overwhelming for the body.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are ending up with post-COVID syndrome. And in post-COVID syndrome, they are actually finding that they are histamine intolerant, if not developing mast cell activation syndrome. So what you want to do, and I've written an article, it's on drbeckycampbell.com,
It's a good article.
and we'll put it in the show notes, but I am expanding on that right now and actually creating a full book on it. But what you want to do is you want to actually start following a low histamine diet. So, because the more histamine you're taking in, and if you're already high in histamine because you've had this cytokine storm from this post-COVID or from COVID,
Mhm.
you want to reduce the high histamine foods because they're going to cause more inflammation. So, that's going to be fermented foods. It's going to be aged foods. It's going to be dried fruits. It's going to
All
be
the best food,
strawberries. Yeah, everything we like. Strawberries,
charcuterie boards.
avocados, charcuterie boards, which, but, we want to, I'm going to teach you guys when this is out on how to get this not to be an issue for your whole life. So for now, I have my
And we,
histamine reset plan, which we're actually giving away
yes.
two of these today. So we're going to give them away, the best two
Mhm.
for use. But you just follow the plan in the book. You support the liver, you take out the highest histamine foods. There's certain nutrients that you need. You can take supplements like quercetin, which most people tolerate really well, but it's a very good antihistamine supplement. So be careful with the probiotics you're taking because a lot of
Right.
probiotics are histamine producing bacteria, which we don't want. So,
We work a lot with the probiotic Histamix, which is
yeah,
really good at lowering histamine levels.
right. And that's from Seeking Health. We use that and the Mega Spore. We like those a lot.
A
So,
lot for forming, the
here-
lactic acid forming.
yeah. So that's kind of the shortened version, but the book gives you an entire plan on what to do. And at the very least, read the article.
Mhm.
And then what else?
There's another one. How can you determine, this is from loving_him7. How do you determine if you have histamine intolerance versus mast cell, even with
That's
testing?
the one I answered.
Oh, okay. So, I think he's asking more so testing
Okay, so
too.
testing is
Yes.
key. So there are blood tests and
Mhm.
urine tests for mast cell activation syndrome, but they're not always accurate, and they have to go to these different labs. And I mean, it's a process. So
It is.
I
Yeah.
don't test anymore I kind of just know because I have it and I know what to look for. For me, it's like I've always had issues. I got migraines when I was little. I passed out in the heat when I was little. I got random hives when I was little. That's not stuff that doesn't really happen if you don't have it.
Right. Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but I think that there was actually another one. Hold on. Let's see.
And so in
Okay,
breast,
so
oh,
it's
go ahead.
it's Nico Grostum. Is
Mhm.
there a link between histamine intolerance and the liver? And there was an
Yes.
organic link, which is why we support the liver with
With everything, it's so important, especially for our genetics and how we detox, supporting that. So we work a lot with the liver, right? Supporting the liver is so important, especially for histamine.
yeah. So we use Liver Love, which is our product that we love, and most people do really well with
They
it.
really do. Yeah.
But if you don't like taking supplements, there's other ways to do it. There's castor oil packs. You can put those over your liver. There is Epsom salt baths if you can tolerate
Mhm.
that. You want to start off really slow. I say start off with about a half of a cup of Epsom salt, and you can work your way up to about 3 cups, right? And then there's also infrared
Mhm.
saunas.
Mhm.
Maybe Krystal will let me post the picture of her in her infrared sauna. Super.
Yes, the tent sauna with my head sticking out.
Yeah, we'll post that for you guys. You're welcome in advance.
It's a goodie.
And it's low EMFs too.
It is. It's low EMFs. And, you just want to start slower, especially if you do have histamine intolerance, being careful with that, right? So start slow, depending on where you're at with that. But it's so good for detox, so good for liver support, opening up those detox pathways, especially as you're working on so many things in the body, right? Whether you're, working on inflammation, working on histamine, working on hormones. It's just important to incorporate these gentle detoxes into our day.
So if you have any skin issues, is a little side note, like let's say you have eczema all over your body, I would not recommend an infrared sauna or dry brushing, which can happen because your body, if your liver isn't working right, your body uses your skin to detox. So that's the whole purpose behind a dry brushing. But again, if you have skin issues, those are the two I would not do. So the supplement would be a lot better for you. And even an Epsom salt bath could be inflammatory.
Yeah.
Like that. So I would definitely do the supplement.
It can. You have to take your own individual, health experiences and the symptoms you're experiencing. You have to take all of that into consideration when choosing these different things, and let your health practitioner help you and guide you in that, right? It's so important.
Yeah. So what we do with histamine intolerance in our practice is we first support the liver.
Yes.
Support histamine with our Histo-Relief supplement. And then we do some testing. We look at the gut health because that plays a very big role. We look at hormone balances, whether it's, sex hormones, thyroid hormones, adrenal hormones.
So many things.
And some other things that can be, driving this. So we do all that. And then we really just personalize a protocol for everybody. It really depends on the person.
It really is. It really does depend on the person. And we have some patients too that are really sensitive, and you have to start things off really slowly, like supporting their detox, supporting things slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
detox protocol. So
yeah.
So that is kind of the second part to histamine intolerance. We'll talk more about it in the future because it is something, obviously it's one of my passions since I've struggled with it, but I don't much really anymore. So that's why I work so hard to help people with it. But we really do want to hear from you guys and other topics too, what you want to hear about. So
especially the spill it. Give us all the tea.
Like, would you, it's telling Krystal, like, would you have a threesome with Justin Timberlake and his girlfriend? Like, that's the kind of questions I want for Spill It. So,
oh my God, I love you, Becky.
Don't listen to this one.
Yes, we want this to be fun. Of course, it's a health podcast. We're going to be, interviewing so many experts on different things, talking about all different types of health topics, but we also want it to be fun too. We're all people. We all have human experiences and we want to talk about everything, right?
Ask us anything.
Yes, it's what makes it fun. We don't want to be just boring, right?
So don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. We would really appreciate that. And don't forget to leave reviews. Every episode we give out prizes for reviews. We pick the two best reviews. This week it's going to be this book, the 4-Page Histamine Reset Plan. I will sign it and mail it to you myself. And then don't forget to follow us on Instagram at healthbabespodcast.com or not .com, Health Babes Podcast. We're on Instagram.
Yeah.
And at Dr. Becky Campbell and at Dr. Krystal Hone. And then don't forget to watch us on our YouTube channel. And right now we're doing it on mine, which is Dr. Becky Campbell. Eventually we'll also have a Health Babes podcast.
Yeah. We're working on that. It's been a labor of love getting a podcast together, has it not?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's fun. Thanks for growing and learning with us. So we're excited for the future, but holy bananas, this has been it really has.
Can I just say something about Krystal? Krystal is literally like, she is the girl next door. And I'm not kidding. Like, a lot of people fake that in this industry. Krystal is for real. Like, Krystal says things like holy bananas, and Krystal will spell out, like, one day we were talking, she's like, I'm such a DORK. And I'm like, Krystal, that's not even, like, you can say that word. Like, she's so funny. So And there's something that she always says, and I want you to
Oh,
pay attention to this. She always says, I'm so serious, just like that. So every time she says that, you need to do something, whether
like,
it's
take a shot.
a drinking game, but I don't know,
Right.
do a push up or
Do something more healthy. Take a shot of
I would say
tea.
kombucha, but most of our listeners have high histamine. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love you.
she does
Thank you.
that, and I say yes.
Yeah.
So those are, you can count and you can let us know. You said that a lot.
I know. I know. Dylan actually made me this video. Her boyfriend actually made me this video of me. He recorded of me saying, I'm so serious. And it was so cute.
Prince of Bel Air. So.
Yes. He's like, you guys need to use this as your closing. Yeah.
I can't for copyright purposes, but it's really funny.
Right. Exactly. It was funny. He's a sweetie.
He is. He's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, thank you guys for listening.
Yes. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. It's Friday here today, so.
Friday here for us, but maybe
Yeah, right.
it'll be Monday for you.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love you, and I'll see you next episode, Beck.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.